Welcome to the GPS to Early Success podcast, where you'll discover career and life secrets from those who have successfully navigated the road before you. Buckle up and let's get to it. Welcome to the GPS to Early Success podcast. I have two guests with me today. I have Chris Mackey and Med Rocha. Chris is the founder of SkillsLine, focused on helping people learn the foundations of career-ready essential skills and making it easy for schools to fulfill state-level employability and social-emotional learning standards. In his spare time, Chris enjoys hanging out with his family, getting out of the city into nature, and learning to coach Little League Baseball. Med is a barber at one of San Francisco's top barbershops, Gents Barber. His goal is to always improve as an artist and be known for his work ethic and ambitious mindset. In barbering, he loves making people feel and look their best. When not at work, he reads, spends time with close friends, and constantly learns new things. He believes the ups and downs of life have brought him to this moment, and he intends to capitalize on the opportunities God has put before him. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us here.
All right.
Appreciate
Good to
being
have
here.
you. All right. Good to have you. Good to have you both. So today's topic, we're using the theme of the word guidance. So, and I believe, Med, you were the one that came up with that subject. So why don't you tell me what you think about guidance and what young people need to know about that?
Well, there's a broad opinion on my side about what guidance might be, because we have a lot of different areas in life that we deal with, personal, relationship wise, financial, educational, and I think everyone in this world has a calling, you know, whether it's not the same path that we're living together and different walks in life, but it all has one purpose. But it's your own purpose, you know. Sometimes we distract ourselves. With like social media is a big distraction, you know. And me coming from a background of not too well of a education and also financial, it was hard for me to really understand who I was, what I wanted, what I expected from life, what I expected from myself, what everybody thought about me, because I wasn't taught that. You know, I wasn't able to sit down and speak to somebody about what I needed to do to be successful in life, to choose the right career, to choose the right path, for simply knowing where you're going, whether you end up with that career that you're studying, whether you end up in that path that you're taking or not. You know, I wasn't taught that, like you said right now. You know, using our information that we learn throughout life for something positive, for a growth that can better us and better every situation around us. So guidance to me, it's important because our youth nowadays are guided in the wrong direction. You know, a lot of social media, a lot of this stuff that they see on TikTok and stuff like that. I mean, there it's enjoyable, some of it is entertaining, but is it really guiding you towards where you want to go? You know, is it
Right.
really feeding your mind instead of taking away?
Right. So if you're not guided by a positive mentor, you're going to be guided by somebody, right? Or something.
Exactly, or something exactly. And I feel I've associated in different parts of life with different types of people. And in my younger age, I lived a bad life where I ended up down wrong road, that led me into federal prison. I was in prison for 6.5 years. You know, um, selling drugs, being in environments that were harmful for me mentally and physically as well, because of the wrong guidance that I chose to see because they was what was around me. So I thought it was the way out. And through that guidance, I always within myself believe in myself. You know, whether it was I was shy about it and I ignored it most of the time for the fact that being out of your comfort zone is hard. You know, being out of and being able to express how you really feel, what you really think to people that don't understand what your imagination is, where your heart's at. It's kind of scary for the fact that judging is a very common thing in this life. And I always thought higher of myself, not in the aspect of being better than anybody, but wanting better for myself, knowing that I could do better for myself. You know, I ended up living in Mexico for a few years, which was a very cool experience in some way. I got to travel Mexico for some time, all the beach areas, beautiful places. But I always thought different. You know, I was in an environment where that you see on TV where it's very rough. I got to meet some people that are business mindseted, and some of them I still stay in contact with. Some of them I didn't. I was in prison in Mexico for a few months before I got extradited to the United States. I met people that still choose to live that life and that will continue to live that life, but that I learned what to do and what not to do, and what to not expect out of myself and out of everybody. So when I got to prison in the United States, I was still relatively young, and I still am. I'm 31 years old, so I sat down. I was in a jail cell by myself 23 hours a day. And I sat down and I thought, okay, this is the time where I gotta, you know, find my guidance, find what I desire to do in life. And life started putting everything in place for me. Started bringing the right people around, associating with different types of people, you know, and that aren't involved in criminal activities in some way, or they're choosing to better themselves. And slowly, I started capturing a lot of things in my head. I started adapting to the change that I was making in myself. I was like, if I don't do it now, what's the point of me doing it later? When it's too late or when I'm too advanced in my life and it takes a harder turn in life to be able to change. So I started reading. I love reading. I read a lot of self-help books. I listen to a lot of recordings, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, Bob Proctor. You know,
Great.
a
Those
lot
are
of
all great.
yeah, very wise men that were big at their time, and they are big if you pay attention to.
Yes.
You know,
I think they recorded in the 1940s, a lot of them.
yes, they're very old recordings, but I listen to them and I enjoy it. You know, you hear the peace, you feel it touch you, and to me that's been my guidance. My guidance has been finding what I desire to do in life, what really makes me happy, and something that I could be able to give to somebody else as well.
Hmm.
You know, my guidance has been being around men like yourself, like Chris, somebody that's willing to give, someone that's willing to accept as well and grow together. You know, this world guidance is about helping each other.
Absolutely.
That's the definition to me is about guidance is being able to help in growth, help in happiness and love and everything that you can provide for somebody. I think that's a proper growth. You know, financial is awesome. Being able to be financially set and finding the success and knowing what you want to do for yourself career wise is awesome. But also being successful in the area of life, personally, in your love, in your peace, it's a guidance that we all need. That's probably my opinion. I could keep going on for a long time, but
Yeah, no, that's great. No, we'll bounce around a little bit. There's a lot to comment on in there. So again, we have an audience of young people in their teens and 20s that are trying to figure out how to set themselves on the best road for life. Um, I'm sure we have some that maybe are doing some things that might head them down a road to prison, or some that have already been and now they're trying to figure out how to build their life after. So, I mean, your story, I'm sure, is going to help a lot of listeners.
I
Yeah, and
hope
I'm
so. I
I'm
hope
really
so. That's what we're
I'm I
yeah,
mean
go ahead.
I'm curious. I know that I'm interested in answering your questions, Tony, but like listening to Medardo talk, I got a lot of questions myself, and I was just going to put one out there for you, Med. How did you find that inner strength to make that change? You know, I mean, you said, okay, I knew I wanted something different. You had this environment around you that like maybe didn't present you with the options to make, you know, positive choices for yourself, or but how do you keep it going? Like, how do you find that inner strength to really embrace the possibilities of life in a positive way like you do?
You know what, Chris? It's a struggle, man. It's the mindset. It's the waking up every day and knowing that it doesn't end here. You know, it's the whenever you feel down, finding that gateway again and keep going, finding somebody that's gonna keep guiding you. You know, because it's not something that you can simply say, I'm gonna do it alone because I'm gonna do it alone. No, you need the right people around you. You need to associate with who's gonna get you there, gonna help you get there, and who you're gonna help as well. It's a it's a mutual thing. You know, it's something that you can attempt to do by yourself, but it's better when you have people that are really there for you, that are you can really be there for. So I think what helps me is my hardship, 100%. The situations I've been through and not wanting and not having that as an option. I don't have a plan B. I have plan A, and I set that in my mind what I really want to do and where I really vision myself and desire to be. You know, and I sat down and made life goals and wrote down what I desired to do, and I'm working towards it. You know, I'm not 100% where I desire to be, and I won't be for a while, but I'm working towards it and seeing the results from my hard work, seeing how life itself attracts the people that you desire to be around is what motivates you well. But you have to be aware. You got to really make yourself aware. Really sit down and work hard at it mentally. It's a mental work that really comes into play when you come from a lifestyle like mine and really desiring to change, better yourself. It's the mentality you choose to put in yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
really
Med,
gonna.
let
Uh-huh.
me give you some perspective here. At 31 years old, I was nowhere near where I wanted to be either. You know, I mean, even
Yeah,
though our paths were different, I mean, I don't think you're expected to be where you want to be by 31. So don't feel like you're behind, you know, the clock or you're behind schedule. Because yeah,
yeah, yeah.
most 31-year-olds are not where they need to be. In fact, I mean, I'm 51 years
Or
old, and I'm
yeah,
not where I want to be. I mean, you know, what I mean,
Hey
we should
man, it's a
always
long road.
always want more. We should always grow more. We should always be reaching for more. So yeah, just
That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
don't feel like you're behind.
or
No,
people
no, I
have
don't feel
the
like.
I was just gonna add one thing to what Tony said,
Uh,
because I agree. People when they're man, when you're 18, when you're 30, when you're 50, we're all on the same path. We're all struggling with this lot of the same questions. So don't think you're ever going to be able to answer the question, right? What's going
yeah.
to make me happy in life? You're always kind of, you know, searching for it. But what I like the way that Med and I met was my kid hated the barber shop we took him to in our neighborhood, right? He said they just shave it off. And he looked up on, you know, and found on the internet, wow, Jed's Barbershop, the best barbershop in San Francisco. And after going there, he definitely agrees.
Yeah,
And so we dropped him off the first time. Next thing I know, my other son, my younger one, wanted to go see Med at Jed's Barbershop, and he made an appointment. And I sat down and started talking to Medardo there a bit, and he just like it impressed me the way you connected with my kids. Like you actually asked them questions, you treated them like they were adults. They just really, you know, connected with you there real quick. And then, you know, what I did, it's okay. Next week, week 3, I scheduled an appointment to come in and get my hair cut. And we just had a really good conversation about, you know, life and, you know, the direction that people can take, and how things hit you that are unexpected. How you bounce back from those is really sort of an indication of your mettle, your resilience, your character. But what really impressed me about our conversation was like you don't know, and you're looking at yourself and you're trying to figure it out for yourself. And yeah, you have a plan A, but like, is that plan? Do you know that plan A is going to change? Are you flexible?
Oh,
I mean, it seems to me
definitely. It's definitely gonna
yeah,
change.
you don't have that pride that you know it all, because of the lessons
Oh,
you've learned. And that's, I think, just a really important thing for everybody to remember is you're never going to know it all. Things are going to hit you that you don't expect. There's a lot of unknowns in life. I'm just really, to ask you another question, like, how did you like come to know yourself? Like, what, do you have a resource for us, or is there some process you went through to know who you are and just have that confidence that you're going to achieve what you want to achieve in life?
Okay, this is an experience that I think was what took me over the top in understanding myself. Like I said earlier, I was in a jail cell by myself for 23 hours a day. I would only go out once 1 hour a day to exercise, and the rest of the time I was alone. My father was actually diagnosed with a tumor in his head that was non-cancerous, but he was in hospital for about 4 months, and we almost lost him because there were some complications for where the tumor was located. Um, and I sat down, and that's when I really said, you know what, this has to change. All this pain that I'm living through, like it has to change. So I really sat down, and a lot of people might undermine this. I'm not very religious myself. I love God, and I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in God, and that's what helped me. I sat down, I prayed, I cried, I did a lot of reading, I did a lot of inner search. I laid down most of the time with my eyes open, and I replayed my life, and I saw what was wrong with me. I saw how I was victimizing myself, how everything in life was something that I created, you know. And I really had to search within myself. I think that's really important in finding your path is understanding yourself, like really being alone. You got to learn how to be alone without feeling alone. And it's
Yeah,
something that's
yeah,
hard to do, but you can grab the grip, you can take the grips of it if you really sit down and understand how to be alone.
yeah. I think
And I'm
most
not
people have
saying
a
that
hard
all.
time. Sorry,
Mhm.
I was gonna say I think most people have a hard time being alone in silence. That's why everybody always
Okay.
has to have the TV on in the background or the radio or something because they do not want to be alone with their own thoughts. And when you can master
Exactly.
that, I think you really have achieved something.
Well,
Yeah, I did a lot of
everybody,
meditation. I did a lot of sitting down, meditating. I read this great book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it shows you about the human mind, the different areas, how it works, how you can overcome a lot of thoughts of repetition that you have created in your head over time. And meditations that really do help to calm your mind and learn how to be alone, in silence, like you said.
yeah, so it seems like a lot of people have this fear, like what do they call it? FOMO, fear of
Yeah.
missing out, where you've always got to be a part of
Yeah.
the action. But that's the action that just takes you away from understanding who you are, that achieving the things that you want in life, and silence and exploring, I don't know, who you are, like that's so important
Hmm.
to understand that. And it's one of the key lessons that I think I learned over time. I didn't really learn that lesson until much later in life. I always kind of strove for things that my parents put in front of me, right? And if I think about guidance, I'm not sure that I really got guidance from that particular area. I think I got more rules that this is what you're supposed to do, but there's really nothing that you're supposed to do in life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's about knowing thyself, and then figuring out how to become the best version of that self, and really thriving and blossoming. And one of the things that I've learned through my work working with kids in education is that there's a place for everybody in the world, but it really does start, like you say, kind of having that silence, understanding yourself, and
Yes.
understanding how you
Yes.
tick. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, why
True.
don't you talk about some of the tools that you've used over the years, like MBTI and that sort of thing, for helping people to get to know themselves if they're not familiar?
Oh yeah, sure. So I actually used to be the general manager of the Myers-Briggs Innovation Labs. And the funny thing about that was we didn't actually play around or experiment or innovate around the Myers-Briggs. I love the Myers-Briggs. It's personality type's a wonderful mirror unto the self, but it doesn't necessarily predict performance, right? You can't use the Myers-Briggs to say, hey, this guy's going to be good at this job, or this gal's going to be good at this job. It's more about you understanding yourself and having a lens with which to interpret the world. So when I was at the Myers-Briggs Innovation Labs, what we worked with was the RIASEC, which was developed by Dr. Holland, and then other measures developed by Dr. Strong from the Strong Interest Inventory, and that helps a person understand what their interests are. Not that I like video games, not that I like crumpling a paper or playing baseball. Yeah, those are interests, but more thematically and how they relate back to careers. So RIASEC, it's a real simple assessment. You get it on the ONET, which is a Department of Labor website. Tony, maybe we could even flash that up on the screen when we do the podcast. But the RIASEC is realistic. R stands for people that like to do sort of hands-on things, building stuff, mechanics, right? Investigative, those that are kind of the thinkers, people that like to, scientists, like theoretical types. Are artistic, which is the creators, right? Ballet dancers, painters, product designers, right? In technology, social. Those are the helpers, nurses, a lot of times, teachers, counseling psychologists, those are social. Enterprising, which is, people that like to persuade, politicians, salespeople. I have pretty high E in my job. And then conventional, sounds kind of like, conventional, but these are the data people that like to organize things, right? They like to make sure the shelves are in order. And I sure wish I had a little bit of that, more of that in my life, right? I wouldn't have a blurry background here. I'd actually like to see how organized my house was, but it ain't organized. So RIASEC, I really recommend starting with interest. If you're going to do some sort of assessment, you can think about those different themes and you can self-identify and have somebody guide you through that as a trusted advisor, providing you with guidance. But you can also there's a lot of free RIASEC assessments out there that let you measure yourself. And usually you'll come up with 3 of those themes that are the top 3. For example, I'm enterprising, artistic, and social, but interests have the highest correlation to career success and career outcomes, right? Like and outsized correlation with income attainment. So if you're actually interested in what you do, like you think about Medardo, right? He loved, you need to tell the story of how you got into barbering after this, okay? Because that shows how important interests are. But they're highly correlated. If you think about measures of the self, there's 3 things that generally that are looked at. It's interests, personality, and interest and personality are highly correlated. But and then ability, which is sort of could be thought of as IQ, a general measure of general intelligence. But if you think about if income attainment, it's all about doing something you're interested in. But think about it, right? You're interested in something, you dig in. You get into it and you learn more. So interests are a really great place to start in terms of tools. I wouldn't say go take a bunch of assessments right off the bat. Start with a good RIASEC assessment. Think about that. And it's a real easy mapping to different careers that you can start to explore, and then start to talk to people, right? Start to tinker in those different careers and start to talk to pros that are in those, whether they're a mechanic, a scientist, or wherever your interest may lead you. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a link to that resource in the show notes. But I wanted to make a comment about, you're talking about interests, which are also known as passions sometimes. And when you are passionate about something, you can beat somebody else who's not passionate in the same field simply because you're passionate. So, if you both have an equal amount of effort put in, but you're passionate and they're not, you're going to win. So you want to find something that is important to you, that you love, that is core to your being. And of course, you want to put a lot of hard work in to develop your skills and become the best at it. But the fact that you love it will make the work not feel like work. And when you have work that doesn't feel like work, that's called a good life.
Well, and I was just going to add something to that too. So a lot of times, and I see it in my own kids, I talk to them about a job or they talk to me about a job. They ask, well, how much money do they make? Right. That was kind of came out of the blue from my 8-year-old one time. Like, how much money do they make? Why are you thinking about that? Right. Do things that make you happy. But there's a lot of unhappy accountants. There's a lot of unhappy engineers. There's a lot of unhappy dentists. But what you'll know is the unhappy ones, they're making, less than the happy mechanic. That, and a lot of the jobs out there don't get explored, right? Plumbers in the state of Massachusetts nowadays make more than primary care physicians. So don't think about the money, think about what you like to do. So
yeah, there's so many doctors dropping out of the field.
Yeah, money follows. Go ahead.
Yeah, you never know what the landscape is going to look like in the future. So doctors, they went to medical school, paid big money, put lots of years in, and then now, they have the insurance companies that are paying them the least amount possible for each procedure, and yeah, a lot of them are leaving the field because it's not as lucrative as I thought it was going to be when they first entered med school.
Yeah, that's right.
It was before. Yeah.
Hey, so Bernardo, I love the story that you told me and my kids about how you got into barbering. And it was interesting to me because, from my work, not a lot of people have the luck to fall into or cross paths with what their interests and their passions are. And that's why, I recommend you do that self-exploration and use some of the tools. And then once you understand the goals, there's other supports that can be provided. But could you tell us about your experience with barbering?
Man, you know what? I love barbering. First of all, I want to put that out there. I really enjoy cutting hair. It's a relaxing career. I don't call it a job. I call it a career because that's really what it is. You got to study as well as learn how to do it because you can't just say I'm going to cut hair and automatically know. If you do, you're blessed and you should stick with it because you're very talented. I was young, man, when I started cutting hair. I was a kid still, 16 years old. I was like, I like this. I would go to the barber shop and it caught my attention. Like, you know what, I could do this. And I started cutting my friends' hair, my friends around me, and I actually I told Chris, he laughed when I told him. I actually worked a summer to buy a pair of hair clippers that I bought, and that's how I actually started. And
do you still have those clippers?
No, I do not. I sure don't, and I wish I did.
Yeah, it'd be cool to hang them on the wall as your first set of clippers, right?
It would, right? It sure would. But yeah, that's how I started. I mean, I went down the wrong path eventually, but once I went to prison, I stuck with it, and I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at cutting hair. I consider myself to be above average because, like you said, I have the passion for it. When you have a passion for something, it just things change for you without you even realizing. You start doing things in a different way where it comes out better because that passion in you makes things look better. It grows your imagination. So it feels awesome, and it's something that I'm gonna do for a while longer. But it was something that fell into my lap. It was something I did as a kid, and I didn't expect it to take it up as a lot of people don't understand how rewarding it can be. And you can make a lot of money if you have the customer service, you learn the people skills, how Chris and I talk, learning the people skills, the soft skills, and most people will go to you for your service, for your personality, for how you treat. Apart from having a good haircut, people want to feel welcome when they come to you. And I think that's in everything in life. When you make somebody feel welcome, you make them want to come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see something else in your future now. I don't know if you're starting to see it from this conversation, but you'll probably do barbering forever because you love it. But I'm seeing like a podcasting or a public speaking future for you. Where you have your own platform where you share your story, And again, you speak to those who are headed down the wrong path, or they were down the wrong path, and now they're trying to change. You could do wonders with that message. Speaking at the schools, either live or via Zoom, and it'll be maybe a secondary job for you.
Yeah, I've thought about it before. I've really thought about it, and I actually took a program when I was in federal prison called RDAP, and it teaches you a lot of people skills. It teaches you also for guidance and how to change your mentality and how to better yourself. And my doctor, his name was Joe Martin, and Dr. Douglas. If they ever see this, actually in Texas, I was actually released from Seagoville prison, the FCI right there in Seagoville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they always told me, man, you need to be a social worker. They told me you need to go speak to these kids. You got something to offer them.
Yeah, well, yeah. Chris mentioned that you had instant rapport with his kids when you were cutting their hair, so that's a very special gift that as an adult male who can make kids feel comfortable. I mean, I think I have that same gift. I mean, I became a teacher 6 years ago after having a corporate marketing career almost 20 years long, and it was fine. It was good enough, but I just felt like I needed more passion and purpose in my life, which is why I moved over to teaching. So yeah, helping people can be a very powerful purpose, and especially if you're helping young people.
Of course, I think that's what makes it worthwhile, because you're not only helping young kids, you're helping the future.
Right.
If you really realize it, helping the youth and helping these kids is helping our future, because they are our future.
Yeah. When we're all in a nursing home, they're going to be running the country.
Exactly. So what do you want for your future? In all overall aspect, what do you want for your future? What do you want around you? Do you want to help kids that are going to better this country, that are going to better this world, going to better our future and our future and the futures to come? It really comes down to that as well. And I mean, it's hard still. You know what I mean? For me, it's still hard. Sometimes I sit down and things aren't always going to go your way. And that's one advice, if I can give the younger kids, or even kids my age, or not kids my age, but men my age or a little older, little younger, one advice is don't give up, because things aren't easy. Nothing is easy. You're not going to just sit down and say, okay, I want to change and it's going to happen. And I want better and it's going to happen. No, it takes work. There's going to be days where you really sit down and you're like, man, this is hard. Like, do I really want to go through with this? Is it hard? But it's that fire that you apply in your heart that you really ignite that's going to keep you pushing. It's the vision that you see of not going back to what affected your upbringing. That's what's going to push you. You got to really find it in you to keep pushing every day, because I mean, I've still messed up, you know what I mean? And you're still going to make mistakes, and you're going to push people away that you felt like you could have kept in your life, that's going to help you, but you learn from your experiences, which is very important. You got to really be aware and accept and learn.
Yeah, well, I know for a fact I've messed up many times in life, and I can almost guarantee every single adult who's lived here on this planet for 30, 40, 50 years, none of them have lived a mistake-free life. No, so we all try to recover from those mistakes.
Sure. Yeah, and I thought one cool thing that you said there was, and I think I'll try to say it right. You said you learn, you accept, and then you move on. When you say you accept, what do you mean?
You accept what you did. I mean, you're unattach yourself emotionally to it, because I think when you keep yourself emotionally attached to certain situations, that keeps you from growing. So you just got to accept it, smile, and know there's better coming. Why is there going to be better coming? Because you're going to accept better when it comes.
Is that like taking responsibility, or?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Accepting something, I think, is taking responsibility. Yes. Because there's going to be situations in life that you're going to wish you never did, but you're going to accept it, be responsible, and grow from it.
That's great. Great advice. Yeah, I really liked your what you're saying about never give up, because I saw this thing on Facebook the other day that is real simple. It just said, "Remember that guy who gave up?" And then it said, "Neither does anybody else."
Yeah.
So yeah, giving up will never be the path to greatness.
No, ever. I mean, you're giving up on yourself. You're giving up on everybody that you can impact with yourself. Really,
Yeah,
because your experience is not only for yourself. It really isn't. We're not here to please ourselves. We're here to help each other. And that's the
right.
honest truth. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm wondering now, whenever a younger person, a person younger than you, sits down in your chair at the shop, do you often find yourself getting into conversations like this, where maybe
Always,
you know try to give them some advice to make their lives better?
always, always. You
I,
know why though? Because it keeps me aware too. You know what
yeah,
I mean? I do it for them and I do it for myself. Because we can get lost sometimes.
yeah.
Whether we realize it or not, we can get lost. So if you keep yourself aware, if you keep yourself on the same mindset, the same track, and you're helping others, because you might say a few words that's gonna strike somebody, and it's gonna call their attention, be like, you know what, this is what I needed. This is
Hmm.
all I needed to put together my pieces. And me doing it feels nice because it's keeping me aware, it's keeping me happy, and it's keeping me motivated. Because when I'm driving home at the end of the day and I'm crossing that Bay Bridge every day, I remember and I smile. And I look around and I say, you know what, I'm in a good place. I'm in a better place than I was before because I know I am.
That's great. Yeah, in the teaching world, we always say one of the best ways to learn is to teach somebody else.
Yeah.
So oftentimes in our classrooms, we'll have the students teach each other, something, and then they take turns teaching each other, and then by the time they're done, they know it way better than if they had just listened to a teacher and taken notes.
Yeah, because they're smart, man. Kids are very smart. Students are, what I mean, the youth is very smart. They just need to use their mind for the right things, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I hope hopefully you'll start taking notes on all this advice that you give to your kids in the chair, and then
Yeah.
package it up as some sort of a training or a podcast or something, because you got a lot to share with the world.
Thank you, thank you. And also, you know what I mean. If you want to post my Instagram on here, I wasn't really big on social media before, but recently I started realizing that if I use it for the right purposes, it's something that I need. It's a tool, really. It becomes a tool. So I'm starting to grow myself on Instagram a little bit more, a little bit of Facebook, but I think Instagram's a little bit more broader when it comes
Yeah,
to
and
people.
it's more targeted to the younger audience too that you were trying to
Yeah.
help. So
So
that's great.
whoever's interested in following me on Instagram and following what I do as well, I'm here. And if they need someone to speak to, hey, you know what, I'm more than welcome to sit here and talk to somebody. So
Yeah, well, and I'll go ahead and put your Instagram link in the show notes, but why don't you go ahead and tell them what it is right now?
excuse me. Okay, my Instagram is medardo.rocha, medardo.rocha, and it's gonna say JR the barber there. And I'm a Bay Area barber based out of the Bay Area, San Francisco. Our barber shop is Gents Barber Club. And on Instagram, you're gonna find it at Gents Barber SF. So it's whoever's welcome to come in, whoever's in the area wants to come by, or if you happen to come in, you're welcome to come by and welcome to take care of you as well.
And I'll attest to the fact that it's the best barber shop in the city, and this is the best barber right sitting here in front of you. So,
Thank you. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
you do a heck of a job, and plus you impart the wisdom the whole time. So
Thank you.
I certainly enjoyed it. Thank you, Medardo.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you.
and I can attest to it secondhand because I've known Chris for a little while now. And I was going to say, there's something different about you. You're looking pretty good, and what it is, it's a new haircut. Looks good.
I'm starting to look respectable nowadays. So it's a good
Chris,
25-minute drive for me,
how was
but
the
it's worth it,
experience?
man. So.
How was the experience, Chris?
Oh, and yeah, I'm gonna go in and get that shave you were telling me about.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, the straight razor.
There
Yeah,
you
might have to
go.
do that on date night though.
There you go.
So
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, Med got a chance to tell people how to reach him. Chris, why don't you let everybody know how they can reach you and tell them just a little bit more about Skills Line because it's really awesome. Our school uses it and it teaches kids social emotional learning and helps them develop their soft skills. I mean, it's an awesome program.
oh well, one of the reasons I love talking to Med was he sort of embodies a lot of these strategies, these mindsets that we're looking to impart to students through Skillsline. You can see us at skillsline.co, but we're basically a series of micro lessons that help students understand themselves, but basically across 5 different competencies, which is self-agency, collaboration, higher order thinking, intentionality, and results orientation. So all those are about 5 weeks with 4 to 6 micro lessons per week. And there's discussions that teachers can have. But the great thing about what we do is that the platform, the technology teaches the material. And then parents and teachers can have these sort of rich discussions with their kids based on what they've learned, and they don't have to put a lot of effort into learning a whole new subject matter. So we're excited to work with you at LPS, Tony, and skillsline.co. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been really great. I appreciate your time.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate you guys inviting me in and being able to share a moment with you guys and share some experiences that also helped me as well.
Yeah. Let's all stay in touch, all right?
That sounds good. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, man. I'll see you in the chair soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care, guys.
That is all we have for you today. Whenever you feel lost, we'll be here to show you the way. Big thank you to Rockstars of Tomorrow in Frisco, Texas for the use of their state-of-the-art recording studio and for supporting our cause. Leave a review on your favorite podcast player or go to thegpsshow.com to be notified of every new episode.